Hello class, my name is Karina Galindo and today I'll be presenting information about inclusion. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. So what is inclusion? Inclusion is providing a proper education for all students with the same opportunities to access the general curriculum with the proper support needed to meet their goals. This also comes from the law of IDEA, which states that a student should be placed in the least restrictive environment, always allowed to participate in a setting with students without disabilities. There are some barriers that involved inclusion, and some of them are bullying, collaboration, and the lack of experience. Bullying is one of the common barriers when promoting inclusion. It could be the lack of exposure of students with special needs and the lack of awareness on how to react to certain situations. When students with ASD show some dysfunctional behaviors, this can lead to being a victim of bullying. Some of the effects of bullying include low self-esteem, isolation, depression, anxiety, and anger. The lack of experience among teachers on how to practice and do the best practices, intervention, differentiate instructions, and collect meaningful data that will allow their students to progress. A lack of collaboration between special education teachers and general ed teachers, where there's no working together, and the lack of professional development to when they are promoting inclusion. Some of the effects of inclusion for ASD students includes the improvement of social and communication skills, promoting awareness, reducing the stigmas. When allowing students with ASD to participate in activities with students without disabilities, they are exposed to new social experiences. They encounter other type of experiences. They learn how their students socialize and communicate. They also learn and imitate behaviors. It offers the opportunity to experience a full curriculum and improve academically. Some effects of inclusion in students without disabilities include the awareness of diversity of students. They can learn the meaning of empathy. They learn how to respond to challenging situations. It also promotes student-peer relationships, respecting differences and advocating for each other. Students without disabilities also benefit from the strategies and interventions being in place. Since this is an inclusive setting, they also benefit from those interventions and show academic progress. Some strategies to promote inclusion include differentiating instruction, celebrate diversity, instructional group activities. When you differentiate instruction, you get to know your students, you become familiar with their IEP, and you implement that in your lesson planning. You celebrate diversity, giving students a feeling of belonging. You get to know their families. They learn how to know their strengths and implement them when they're learning. Instructional group and practicings, when you create those group activities, they interact and promote inclusion, allowing students to learn from each other, creating active participation where everyone has a role. It also helps students develop social and communicating skills with their peers. They become responsible for completing a task, and the lessons are being delivered differently since it's involving several students. Therefore, different styles, thoughts, strengths, and needs are also being involved in the activity. So at the end, if I had to define inclusion again, I will say that inclusion is the environment where all students are respected, accepted, and cared for. Thank you.